She wanted her husband, she wanted her kids, she wanted her life. A California mom is grabbed right out of the Target parking lot in broad daylight, and then she's stabbed, beaten, and left for dead by the woman who wanted to replace her. So what happened to Sherri Dally? Let's recap. It's a normal Monday morning, quick run to Target, but 31-year-old Sherri Dally never makes it home. She's handcuffed in broad daylight by a woman flashing a badge. She's told she's under arrest, then she's hustled into a waiting car, and then she vanishes. So who is Sherri Dally? How does a loving wife and mother end up the target of such a bold, terrifying crime? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to where it all began. Sherri met Mike Dally in high school. He's charming, good-looking, one of the most popular guys in school. And Sherri, she's smitten. Mike went all in on the romance. On her 18th birthday, he sent her 17 red roses and then showed up at her front door to personally deliver the 18th. It is the kind of grand gesture that makes a teenage girl feel like she's living in a movie. We are talking John Hughes type movie territory here. So the two marry young, just like Sherri always wanted, and not long after that, they have 2 sons. Exactly what she'd always dreamed of. She's like, wife and mother, that's all I want in life, and that's what he gave her. Now, Mike works at a local Vons grocery store while Sherri runs a successful daycare out of their Ventura home. Now, friends say she was a natural with kids, kind, patient, full of energy. It looks like they have it all. A young family, a happy home, and a future that seems right on track. For years, life in the Dally household seems routine, normal, fantastic. But then, everything changes. On May 6, 1996, Sherri drops her boys off at school, then heads out for a quick morning run to Target like she usually does on Mondays. But this time, she never comes back. Mike is the one who reports her missing. Sherri's van's like this huge 15-passenger van because of the daycare business, so it's not hard to spot, and they find it right away sitting in the Target parking lot, unlocked, abandoned. Her keys are inside, so is her wallet. Even the gift she just picked up for her mom, it's there, untouched. There's no sign of a struggle, no signs of a getaway, nothing stolen. This wasn't a robbery, and it definitely wasn't a carjacking. It looks like she was grabbed before she even had a chance to lock the doors. And then witnesses come forward with something strange. They remember seeing a blonde woman placing Sherri into a car. She was acting like a cop, they said. And Sherri was, handcuffed. It looked like an arrest. But the weird details don't stop there. Police check with every local law enforcement agency. Not one of them has any record of arresting Sherri that day. And even more suspicious, the woman was driving a teal sedan, not the standard cop car. And she was working solo, no partner, which is rare, especially for a female officer making an arrest. Because this wasn't an arrest. It was a ruse, just a fake badge, fake cop, but a very real abduction. So now detectives are zeroing in. And the first person they need answers from is Sherri's husband. They find Mike at home and they start asking the basics. Where were you? What'd you see? When was the last time you talked to Sherri? And he tells them he was at work when she disappeared. Says he has no idea what could have happened. He's calm, he's collected. He's almost too collected for just his wife of forever, high school sweetheart, mother of his children, vanishing from the Target parking lot. I'd be losing my mind. He's not losing his mind. Detectives check out his alibi, and sure enough, his employer confirms, yeah, he was on the clock. But when the conversation shifts to his marriage, like, how are things there? They take a turn. At first, Mike insists everything was fine between him and Sherri. No problems, no drama. But under pressure, he caves. He admits that he's been having an affair with a woman named Diana. He claims he doesn't know her last name or where she lives, but he gives them her first name and a phone number, which is fine because that is all investigators need. So with a name and a number in hand, detectives quickly ID the mystery woman, Diana Hahn. She works with Mike at Vons, and now she's officially on their radar. So they head to her place in Ventura County to ask her a few questions. But what they walk into, they're not ready for it. Diana answers the door wearing sexy lingerie. And just a few seconds later, Mike Dally strolls out of the bedroom in his boxers. That moment changes everything because Here is Mike's wife, missing, probably, definitely in danger. And here you are, sleeping with your mistress. I mean, you couldn't even give it a night, man? Just back off for 1 second? No, he couldn't. He couldn't even give it a night. But here's what throws them. Sherri knew about that affair, but she wasn't ready to walk away. I mean, can you blame her? This is her high school sweetheart. This is the father of her children. She wants to keep her family together, for the kids, for the life they'd built. In fact, she even went face to face with Diana and told her point blank, "You're not getting my husband and you're not getting my kids, just back off." But Diana's not going away that easy. So after catching Mike with her, detectives ask him to bring his girlfriend in for questioning, and surprisingly, he agrees. He personally drives her to the station. There, Diana sits down with investigators and she lays out her story. She claims she spent most of the day that Sherri disappeared by herself. She says she went on a long bike ride to clear her head. But detectives notice something they can't ignore. Scratches on her head. And when they press her about it, she just shrugs it off. Like, I don't know. I fell off my bike. It's just an accident. But detectives are like, bitch, please, come up with a better story. That is not adding up. And the timeline, come on, no alibi at all. And those scratches, they don't look like they came from a fall. They look like they came from a fight. But one detail isn't sitting right with them. Investigators say that witnesses saw a blonde woman take Sherri, but Diana, she's got long dark hair. So is there a chance they could be wrong? So they decide to track the car. They start checking local rental agencies, and that's when they hit pay dirt. A teal Nissan Altima had been rented out right around the time Sherri disappeared. The same make, the same color, spotted by witnesses at the scene. And when the car was returned, employees noticed it was damaged. The rear view mirror was missing, and that wasn't the worst of it. Under the floor mat in the back seat, there's a dark reddish brown stain that looks a lot like blood. And when authorities cut into the seat cushions, they find even more. And then comes the clincher. Long synthetic blonde hairs are tangled in the car. Exactly what you'd expect from someone trying to pull off a disguise. The rental agreement lists one name, Diana Hahn. But when detectives confront her, she denies it. She says she never rented that car. That's a bold move. Bold. But detectives aren't buying it. And then one final twist. Inside her purse, they find a family photo. Diana standing next to Mike and his 2 sons. Not Sherri, Diana, playing house with another woman's husband and kids. I mean, that's all they need. Detectives arrest her. So who is this woman? To look at her, you might not think twice. Quiet, reserved, the kind of woman who blends into the background. She was raised in Southern California by a Pearl Harbor veteran and his Japanese wife. She grew up in a stable home, stayed out of trouble, and even made the dean's list in college. Nothing in her early life screams danger. But in high school, everything changed. During her sophomore year, Diana was hit in a freak accident when a basketball backboard collapsed on her. She was in a coma for 3 days with a serious brain injury that left lasting effects, including memory loss. The accident led to a lawsuit settlement that paid her a monthly stipend, money she was going to get until age 65, but it's not much, it's like $1,000 a month. Over the years, friends and coworkers described her as mousy, almost childlike, a dependable tenant, a shy, soft-spoken woman. No one knew what she was capable of. She worked as a deli clerk at the Vaughn supermarket, just going through the motions, clocking in and out, but that's where she met Mike Dally. So they bonded over shared roots. They both had Japanese mothers and military fathers. That connection grew into something deeper and darker because behind the deli counter, something was brewing. And it's not just a workplace romance. It's a full-blown obsession. Coworkers at Vaughn start coming forward with creepy stories about Diana. Some say she was acting strange before Sherri's disappearance, talking about witchcraft, even making bizarre, chilling comments like that she was planning a human sacrifice for a friend with a birthday coming up. What do you get a person who has everything, apparently? And here's where it gets eerie. Mike Dally's birthday was coming up. Human sacrifice? Man I'm sleeping with? Creepy. Police question her about it, but she doesn't offer much. She stays cold, just quiet, unreadable. But before they take her to jail, they let her have a moment with Mike. And what happens next is chilling. So Mike's hugging her. He's telling her, don't worry, it's all going to be okay. They can't hold you, not unless they've got real evidence. And remember, Sherri's just missing, not dead. The thing is, he's right. No body, no case. Without Sherri's remains, the DA refuses to charge Diana. So just days later, she walks free. But that's not going to last long, because 3 weeks later, everything changes. On June 1st, 1996, a group of volunteers is out searching for any sign of Sherri when one of them spots something unexpected near the side of the road. A pair of sunglasses. They're near the edge of a steep ravine. When they climb down to check it out, they find a pair of black shorts, just like the ones Sherri was last seen in. And deeper in the ravine, hidden from view, they find skeletal remains. It's Sherri. Now prosecutors have what they were missing, a body. So with her remains recovered, the case takes a sharp turn. The medical examiner confirms what detectives were afraid of. Sherri was beaten and stabbed to death. And then they get another break. A wig shop employee comes forward telling police she sold a blonde wig to Diana shortly before the abduction. Now, detectives believe that she went to great lengths to disguise herself because you remember that Sherri did confront her once, so she would have recognized her. But they believe that Diana used makeup and that blonde wig to transform herself. And, she's flashing a badge, she's moving fast, Sherri's flustered. They don't think that she recognized her until she was in the car. But once she's cuffed and in the back seat, something clicks and Sherri realizes who's behind this fake arrest. And they believe that she somehow got her handcuffed hands in front of her and fought back, scratching Diana across the forehead, breaking that rearview mirror in the struggle. That's when Diana panicked, pulled over, and stabbed Sherri right there in the car before driving away to dump the body. But now that they have the body, the wig shop testimony, the blood in the rental car, the scratches on Diana's head, detectives finally have enough to charge her with first-degree murder. But this isn't a one-woman operation, because Diana's not the only one who had reason to want Sherri gone. And all eyes turn to Mike. So it turns out he and Sherri's marriage is far from the picture-perfect love story it once appeared to be. And I'm not even talking about just having an affair. Oh no, it's worse than that. Mike was emotionally torturing her. You are not going to believe these words, but it's apparently true. He put Diana's picture on a pillow and then put that pillow on the bed he shared with his wife. Can you imagine? On Christmas, he took their boys to Diana's to spend the day with her, leaving Sherri completely alone. She bent over backwards to try and earn his love back. Girl, she got up at like 2 a.m. to warm up his shower if he had an early day and she didn't want him to have to wait for it to get hot. And how did he repay her loyalty and love? He helped his latest girlfriend murder her. He gave Diana the details, Sherri's schedule, where she'd be that morning, when she was going to be alone. He handed over the blueprint. And it gets worse. Witnesses start coming forward claiming Mike was living an even double life, selling drugs, hiring sex workers, spinning a web of secrets behind Sherri's back, or not so much behind her back, maybe right in front of her face just to torment her. One sex worker says Mike drove her to the area where Sherri's body would later be found and had sex with her there. Another woman, a former coworker, says she had an affair with Mike too. And he actually asked her to kill his wife for him, too. In November of 1996, Mike is charged with murder. And in court, Diana tries to shift the blame. So her attorneys argue that he was the real killer, calling him the mastermind, pointing out that Diana, who's a vegetarian, couldn't possibly have had it in her to take a life. But the jury doesn't buy it. In 1997, after a 4.5-month trial, Diana is found guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. The verdict? Life in prison without parole. And then it's Mike's turn. Separate trial, the jury hears about the manipulation, the emotional abuse, the double life, the plan to get rid of his wife, and they find him guilty of first-degree murder too. Mike is sentenced to life behind bars, no chance of ever walking free. 2 trials, 2 life sentences, 1 innocent woman caught in the middle of this deadly obsession, which begs the question, How well do you really know the person sleeping next to you? If you found this case as shocking as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more crime in half the time. I'm Amy. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Chris and I are here 3 times a week with new recaps. Until next time, take care.